Alright, so I'm going to quickly show you how to use the pen tool. So if you go up here to your menu in After Effects, at the very top you have your pen tool. We're going to click on that. We want to make sure that our stroke is a good weight. 3-point is good, 2-point is good. I'm going to change it to 3. So I just click on that, change it to 3. I want to change the color because I want to be able to see it, so I'm going to change mine to red. You might just use white. I'm going to turn off my fill. The reason being because if I do a line and I have my 2 points for my line, it fills it in between there and I don't want that. So I click up here, fill, and I want to make sure that says none and turn that off. And then now I just have my lines. So I'm going to do that again. So the way that it works is you have 2 points create a line. So I'm going to first do the straight line. So straight line, so I click my first point. I'm going to hold down shift so I get a straight line, and I click my second point. All right. Once I click my second point, I can use my arrow to move it in any place. So if it's not completely lined up, I can click on it and use my arrow and move it around. And then I can also go back and click. So if I click on my move tool again and I click at that first point, I can also move that point as well. Alright, so I created this text right here and I want to add in, I wanted it to adjust this line. If you're clicking on it and you can't select it, I locked my text there so that I'm not getting any text. If you're clicking on it and you can't select it, a little trick here is you can click on your pen tool and then go down to your timeline and just select that it gives you the points so that you can move them again, right? Right, so let me turn back on my layer. So I have this Bezier curve, and now I want to add to my path. So what I do is I click on it, and then I come over and hold down my control key, and that allows me to add to the last path. To do a curve is what this video is on. To do a curve, what you need to do is you need to click right before the curve, and then click on the end of the curve. And at that point, you're not going to let go of your mouse, you're just going to drag. So I click and I drag, and then I can go back and adjust these other ones so that it comes out looking almost perfect. All right, and a point like this, where it's pointing in one direction, we have to make this handle always point in the direction of the curve. So if it was going this way and I click right here, it's going to do a loop, right? So I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to change the direction of this handle. So I'm going to hold down my Option key and change the direction of the handle so now it points to the curve. So see, it's riding the edge of that curve right there. So now I come to the other side of the curve where it ends, and I drag and I create my second loop. All right. You can also get rid of these just by dragging them back into. Let me hold down Option when I do that. So hold down Option or probably Alt on a PC. And you can drag that back into the beginning, and then you just close it out. I'm going to move this up. So that gives me my curves. I'm going to do it again on the R so you can see what it looks like. So I'm going to click on my R. I click straight line right here, but this is the end of the straight line, and this is where the curve begins. So I click at the beginning of the curve, and I click and I hold at the end of the curve. All right, and that gives me my curve. And then I hold down Option or Alt to drag that back so that I can do the next piece, and I can just keep clicking. Every time you do a curve, you want to hold down and drag. So let me start this over again because it looks a little bit bad. So you can also do a halfway point for the R. Again, I want to drag this piece back in, come down here, come across. And some of these things you'll have to zoom in and kind of fix later on. But whenever you have a curve, you want to click and hold and drag. It's usually in the opposite direction of the way that you want your line to go. I'm going to just zoom in down here and fix these points a little bit because they're a little bit wonky. So right there, drag this back up. Right, so that gives me my R, and Control minus to zoom out. And again, you have that curve. So to show you on another example, so click right here. So I want to make a curve. So I click my first point, click my second point, and I drag down to make the curve go up, right? And depending on how long this handle is, this is called a handle right here. How long the handle is, that's how long your curve is. So if I do a small handle, let's do a small handle, and I click right here, it'll do a short curve, right? If I do a long handle and I click right here, it'll do a long curve. See, long curve. So essentially that's how you do your curves. All right.